Hello there. Here with another update on my progress on Elite this couple of weeks. It was been a bit quiet over last week due to doing some work stuff, so it's taking up quite a bit of time. So I've had a bit of a play around. Since then, the code, I've added in functionality for a launch screen and just started the ship movement with the roll keys. It was having a bit of a weird effect on the ships on screen, so I thought I'd focus on the stars and seem to have cracked what was going on there. Right, so on to launching. I'll do a quick build, I'll do a run, start the code up, go through there. You got the usual maps. As I say, I've got a little bit of fun with picking random colours. We've got to sort out what's going on there. But I'm going to launch into what is now the launch screen. This will go through and set you at full speed. As you can see now, I'm launched at full speed. Slow down and onto the screen. So the next bit is I've added roll functionality, which was actually a bit tricky because I got my maths wrong there. So I can now roll left. I'm testing for the very first time actually switching to roll right. And as you can see, it's a bit of a dampened effect that it just sets the roll. And now I'm not pressing any keys and the roll effect is on. Now I'm going to start rolling right. So there, I haven't put the dampening in. So normally when you let go of the keys, the dampener will slow down. And I'll also then update the gauge bar for the roll amount to give us an idea, and then I've got the speed. So now it rolls through and does acceleration, and I'm going to zoom past the ship. What I haven't got working yet is the roll on the ship. That's rolling on its own accord, but I think for a laugh, I'll actually add the code back in and show you what happens when I do it on the roll. Okay. Right, we'll have a look at the code then, what I was going to do. And I've had it in the left and right key press routines, checks for a key. If there's no key, it moves on to the right key to check that. Pulls in the joystick variable, check to see if it's within range of the roll rate, because I've thought I'd go for this to make it a variable in case we want to later on add different ship types and different roll rates. If it's less than the maximum, then it will carry on through there, load it into joystick, take the sign, flip it, load it into flip 2 as well, and then take away if it's a positive, if it's a negative value, make it an absolute value, and then load it into alpha 1. There later on it rolls into checking the right key. I could just add a return here because you press the left and the right. In theory, it actually negated it as a move, but honestly, I'm going to leave that so it can do that. Right, the Elite build, so I'll go over to EliteNext.asm, and the routine which I've been having problems with this week is the one that does the rotation of the player ship. So at the moment I've got a hard coded just to go and do the forward view, but later on I'm going to add into my tables, which I'll show in a little bit. So if I go up and look for the rotation, you'll have to bear with me because I completely forgot where I put it. There it is. I will then go through to here, Elite build. Now I will run it and go full screen F1. I will launch. I'm going to slow the speed down for a little bit while I test this. So if I go roll, you see it has a bit of a weird effect. I'm not sure what's going wrong with the maths there. But roll the other way. So there seems to be a limit on how much roll I can do before the calculation goes wrong. I actually know it's not actually applying any roll, because that would actually mean it would come down the bottom of the screen. You see there it's trying to. In fact, as a test, I'm going to actually slow down, but increase the roll and see if it is actually something really daft, like it's not actually saving the variables and doing it alternate frame rates. For some reason, it is actually ending with the multiple images. So I do feel like it's actually trying because you can see it moving up and down. So I suspect I've got something wrong with my code, that I'm not actually storing the value properly. So I'll have to have a look at that. So I'll have to have a bit of a hunt in the code and actually look at the code, my apply roll and patch. If I go through here, I've roll and pitch, sorry, I've not got the patch in yet because I'm not working. I'm just working purely on roll to get the roll working. I will bring this over to this screen and I've got my apply. So I've got no roll on the actual ship, just a position. So I'm focusing because, of course, the way roll will work is that as you rotate the ship, the angle of the other ship on screen will also change relative to you, so you need to apply it. At the moment, I've got some very brute force and ignorance code that just goes through here. I've removed the pitch by just putting the operation just as a placeholder. Pulling through the code there and doing, got some logic for dealing with the opposite signs because I had a bit of a fuzzy head week, so I had to try and really work out my basic maths again. I then have the variable for a variable k, which holds 16-bit value plus 1 bit for the sign. I'm going through the processing here, and I think my problem is probably that I took the assumption that my sign value here uses B and C for the registers, where actually it doesn't. It's actually using H, using 15-bit plus sign. So let's just have a very, very quick test on this. LDA alpha2, I'm going to do, so B is going to be for H and loading up H and L. So in theory, just before this routine, I've loaded B up with the sign of the sign there. And actually HLD is just, it's actually a bit all over the place there, to be honest, because I'm trying to do some very bizarre stuff there, and that doesn't make sense. So I think I've just patched the wrong routine in. It was a very, very quick and dirty. I'm going to do or H, LD, H, comma, A, and then I'm going to get the alpha2 one, which is in B, LD, A, comma, B. I'm going to OR that with D. I'm then going to LD, D, comma, A. Really, really basic. I'm just going to see what happens. I suspect this will be another crashing mess. The fact that I've loaded up HLD side and not actually got it. So just a little test here. Let's do LDA, comma H and $80. So I'm just going to basically take the sign bit and put it in there. It's a bit of a bodge. Quality stuff. Sometimes you have to improvise and adapt. And I think also I've probably got my multiplication, the mistake I had before, which was while I was applying the X to the Y and the Y to the X, should have been a logic, so that as you rotate along, you apply an adjustment for the Y axis and subtract it from the X, and take an adjustment for the X axis and add it to the Y, which will give you your rotation in space. My big problem I spent most of the day at was understanding that I got that backwards, and I was just adding the X to the X and the Y to Y. What happens, the effect is it starts to diminish into a straight line across the screen. So let's just see what happens. Compiled it, I'll run it, I'll hit the launch, I'll go full screen so we can see the whole embarrassment of full glorious Technicolor. I'm going to slow down and I'm going to add a roll to it. Still getting a double effect. Okay, it's not brilliant, that. What more interesting, actually, is it actually getting into the top of the screen and going off in the top corner? And no, it's not. So it actually, to some degrees, it actually seems to be vaguely working. Because if I launch it again, I'm going to run it again through there. And I'm going to turn a full hardcore turn to the side there. Yeah, that definitely does it. But you can see it's actually doing some movement. So I've got some weird calculations going on. So the rotation to some degree does actually work, but you can see the weird line effects. I think the problem is that I've got 15-bit calculations, and when I add them together, it results in a 16-bit number, which means in effect that the overflowed into the sign bit, and then I'm applying the logic to the sign bit again, which causes the number to look like they're spiking to extreme values. That's likely what I think is happening. It'll probably explain why I'm getting that weird doubling effect, that alternate frames the calculations are hitting a limit. So bye all for now, and have a great day.